The Battle of Draconia, a battle that shook the very foundations of magic. The great land of Draconia was once a beacon of hope and prosperity, but all that changed when two brothers, Hades and Antares, were born with powers unlike any others. Their bond was unwavering, their teamwork unmatched, and together they were seen as protectors of Draconia. They were revered as demigods, their strength and abilities so immense that mortals and immortals alike trembled before them. But alas, it was not to last. For within Hades' heart, a dark seed of greed and hunger for power began to grow, twisting his once noble soul. The more he craved the feeling of being the most dominant force in the world, the more he turned a blind eye to the suffering he caused. His insatiable thirst for control turned him against everything he once held dear, including his own brother. Antares watched in anguish as the darkness crept into his brother's soul. He tried to reach out to him, to remind Hades of who he once was, but it was no use. The path of righteousness had been abandoned, and there was no turning back. Antares could not stand by and watch as Hades corrupted Draconia and its people, so he acted. What began as a disagreement between two brothers soon escalated into a full-blown war. A war that would rage across the entire continent of Ishtia. They rallied the remaining forces, igniting a spark of defiance in their hearts. Magic and steel clashed in a deadly ballet, a desperate attempt to tip the scales of war. For 2 long years, every corner of the continent felt the tremors of battle as cities burned and lives were lost. His power was like a tidal wave crashing over the forces of Ishtia, nearly drowning them in darkness. Together with Antares, they confronted Hades in a final cataclysmic confrontation. Despite their might, the tide seemed to favor Hades. By combining their powers, they managed to bind him to the underworld, a place from which he could never escape. Though the mages were no match for Hades' overwhelming strength, they had a plan. Even the mages with all their mystical power could not defeat him. It looked as though Draconia's fate was sealed. But just when all hope seemed lost, 3 legendary mages stepped forward, and together with Antares, they sealed Hades to the underworld. The battle was over. Hades was gone, sealed away in the depths of his own making. Yet the scars left on Draconia and its people would last forever. Antares sat at the throne, and an age of peace came. The Battle of Draconia became a legend. A grim reminder of the fine line between light and darkness, and the terrible price of unchecked power.